Hey Facebook, how you doing? So there is some noise outside the window. You can maybe hear I don't know, cars driving by, kids playing. It's far too hot in here, so I'm having to keep the window open, so apologies for that in advance. So today I want to talk about how Tinder is actually damaging our ability to reach our fitness goals. That might seem like a very, very strange thing to talk about, but I will explain fully, don't worry. So the age that we live in, without sounding too old, the age that we live in is progressively becoming one of instant results or instant gratification. And obviously that exists in dating more and more. Obviously we're more and more connected to other people through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and then obviously things like Tinder and Bumble that make dating and accessing that intimacy with a person infinitely easier than it used to be like 20 years ago. And then it's also more available in things like people who now make money on the internet and work from home on the internet, case in point, versus having to go work in a factory or do something very manual to make a living. So things are immediately, in that instance, also very instantly available. And it kind of discourages work in some ways. It discourages effort. It discourages this ability to think like, in order to get results in my life in anything, I'm just going to have to knuckle down and just do the basics every single day. And even, always get called during a live stream, happened yesterday as well. Even, and now my speaker's shouting at me. Even, completely lost my train of thought. Bet this is fun. What was I saying? So I'll start back near the beginning. So instant gratification, accessing things really, really quickly, really, really easily, and it reduces the ability for us to just remain focused on the fact that if I just do the basics every single day, I will eventually get to where I want to be. And as well as that, we're constantly faced with examples of people who are where we want to be or have easily just got to where we want. So in the fitness world, how many of you have seen like an Instagram model on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever that just looks how you want to look all the time? Their lifestyle is sunshine and rainbows and they're just always living this perfect dream. Or if we're talking about relationships or other people's lives, you see like the highlight reel of someone else's life through the lens of social media. Or even in your career, someone who is like my age in their mid-20s, they're constantly bombarded with examples of people who have made an app and sold it for billions. And you're just constantly reminded that there's these ways around the ways that we're brought up and taught to believe, which is that hard work, discipline, consistency create results. And it reminds me of something that I learned at university in economics. Seems really boring, but this idea of scarcity and how scarcity creates the value of something, but also reduces the value of something. And the classic example that is used is one of diamonds and water. So in some parts of the world, diamonds are, relatively speaking, they're abundant. They're everywhere. They're mined. And the source where diamonds come from, obviously, diamonds are reasonably readily available. And so the value of diamonds, while it's still high, is nowhere near as high as it is in, let's say, the UK, where diamonds are a rare commodity and are very, very high priced. So scarce equals high price, abundant equals low price. Contrast water, clean running water. Some parts of the world, that's one of the most valuable commodities or most valuable things you can access. In the UK, in civilized parts of the world, you can turn a tap on and you get instant access to it. And so this idea that there is a quick fix or there is a magic solution for something in anything, whether that's business, fitness, whatever, hey Yusef, anything, if there's a quick fix for something, it immediately reduces the value of it. And I'll have you consider that the only reason that you are on a fitness journey, and I'm going to assume if you're watching this video, you probably are concerned in some way about the way that you look or the way that you perform. The only reason that you care about that in the first place is because that result is scarce. That's because that not a lot of people have that result. The reason that you want abs, the reason that you want a beach body, the reason that you want to stand out in a crowd or stand out in your friends is that not many people look that way. Not many people perform that way. And we want to stand out, we want to be noticed. It's just human nature to crave attention for positive things. But consider, though, that the example that I just gave, like if there were quick fixes, if there was a magic solution to something in the fitness world, then everybody would look like that. And therefore the value of it would drop. And so it stands to reason then that almost certainly there is no quick fix, and there will be no quick fix. And while we're faced with examples in other areas of our lives, like Tinder makes it super easy to get a date, for some people, maybe, makes it super easy to get a date relative to how it was 10 years ago, there are some parts of life where those quick fixes are just never going to exist. And this is both good news and bad news. Obviously, it's bad news because it means that getting results that we want, getting things that are meaningful takes time, takes effort, takes consistency. But the good news is that if you just come to terms with that, it's about what do I do next? What do I do now? And something that we spend basically all of our time doing is focusing on 3 things with every client that we work with, everybody that comes into Propane Fitness. We focus on, well, how much information do we actually need in order to make progress? Like once you've got the information, understand that there is probably not going to be any different or new information that is going to allow you to progress quicker. Remember, there's no quick fix. It's just about consistency and hard work applied to the basic things that actually create results. Like obviously there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, but more than likely, unless we're talking about illegal measures and drugs and things like that, there isn't going to be a way that is suddenly going to transform your physique or your performance in a matter of hours or a matter of days. So we need information that is simple, easy to follow, but also relevant to us. And obviously it needs to be applicable to your goal. Like if you're following a bodybuilding split to get better at a triathlon, bit of a mismatch there, but you get the point. So we have this information. We understand, we've come to terms with the fact that we're probably not going to stumble across this gold mine of information that's going to accelerate our progress rapidly. So then what do? Well, then we have to focus on, I have to actually take this, discover what do I actually need to do every day, every week, every month, and how am I actually going to do that? How do I convince myself that on a daily basis I need to tick off these boxes? How am I going to motivate myself to do that every day? And that part of the puzzle is integration or implementation, however you want to describe it. But it's taking the information and applying it to you, to your today, to your tomorrow, to your this week. Whatever this week looks like for you, how are you going to apply that to make sure that at the end of the week you've had 7 days that are in line with your goal, or 7 days that are in line with moving you in the right direction? And believe it or not, that's pretty difficult to do. So that's what we help with our clients with probably 90% of the way, is not teaching them information, because a lot of them know it already, to be honest. It's taking that information and saying, well, okay, like if that's what your Monday to Friday looks like, let's do this. If that's what your weekend looks like, let's change it and do this instead. And implementing it so that it's smooth sailing and you aren't constantly running up against this, I fucking hate this, I really don't want to do this today. And suddenly it becomes, actually this is quite simple, this is quite easy, completely changes the landscape of progress. The third thing is individual accountability. So you've probably heard, if you've seen any webinars recently that we've done, or read any of our emails, you've probably heard of us talk about the 3I formula. So the 3 I's are information that is simple and relevant. I've discussed that. Integration, so what I've just covered. And the third I is individual accountability. And that is simply acknowledging the fact that once we've come to terms with, all right, there's no magic quick fixes. I know what I need to do. I have a rough idea of how I'm going to actually pull that off on a daily basis and what I need to do. But what about when I just can't be asked? What about when I get home from work late? What about when I'd rather sit at home and watch Netflix than go to the gym? What about when that box of donuts someone brought into work looks ever more appealing and I don't really want to stick to my macros today? How do we create immediate consequences so that we do it anyway? Or so that the pain of not doing it exceeds the discomfort of following the program? And that comes simply from accountability. So individual accountability, not by there's a group of people who are doing it too and I don't want to fall behind. It's that person's going to check in on me on Monday and make sure that I've done it. And that comes from obviously the coaching systems that we have, the check-in formulas that we use, keeping somebody on track, keeping somebody to stick to what they said that they would do, comes from applying individual accountability, checking in on that person week to week, day to day. So hopefully this has helped to simplify things for you. Believe it or not, while this video you're watching me thinking I knew that already, this took me and Yusef I kid you not, like 10 years to realise. Because, we were talking about this yesterday, we have examples of things that we're thinking about where, like, we were having a protein shake filled with like caffeine and horrible tasting protein powder and dextrose and different leucine and different things in it, like chugging this down at 10 o'clock at night, and then we couldn't go to sleep, and we were doing it because we thought that was a quick fix. It was part of a program we were following at the time, and we thought that was going to take us to our goals quicker. We fell for the thing that everybody always kind of wants to believe, which is that there is a quicker way to do things. And because we fell for that, because we just constantly, we jumped from quick fix to promise to promise to promise to program, we kind of gave up a ton of time that if we just stuck with, let's follow this program that we are pretty sure will work, and let's focus on how do we actually consistently do this over time, I bet you that our results would be so much better than we are now, or better than they are now. And while that's heartbreaking for us, it's something that if you're watching this video, you're in this position where you're thinking like, yeah, I'm actually in the progress of like tweaking my program now, or I'm in the process of like looking for the next diet change I can make, or looking for like the next keto program to follow. Like, stick with the basic stuff and focus all of your attention and focus all of your attention and your energy on applying it, being consistent with it. And when you have a streak of a year of following it and you're starting to make progress, massive progress, then you can start to look at, well, what can I tweak and adjust and optimize on top of something that is already working, on top of a basic foundation that is already getting you results. Okay, so sorry about that, about getting called, my speaker going off. It's just technology for you. But yeah, hopefully this video helps you. If you like this message, if you think you know someone else who is struggling with this stuff, who is optimizing and tweaking and fiddling and getting sucked into the Tinder version of fitness, then I'd love it if you could share this video, give me a like, give me a comment, let me know what you think. If you like this sort of thing, I will do more of it. We will speak soon.